episode 4 of The Book Brothers. I'm Michael Zubal.
I'm Tom Zubal.
And we're podcasting from our headquarters at Zubal Books here in Cleveland's beautiful Tremont neighborhood on the near west side of Cleveland, Ohio. During this episode, we're going to be regaling you with our adventures in Southern and Northern California, where Thomas initiated a deal down in L.A., got into some interesting moments. I followed up a few months later in Northern Cal and had a lot of fun and got scared at certain times. But before we get to that, we'd like to talk to you about certain occurrences on ABEBOOKS, which is one of the biggest used book sites in the world. Something that we've noticed over the last few years and our colleagues have noticed as well and complain about. We're talking about potentially fraudulent listings on that service and what should be done about them. Tom, you want to go into any details about this?
Yeah, so in my ongoing desire to clear up the major sites of bookjackers, I was doing a bit of research, and I think I figured out that ABE.com has 60 million listings of books for sale, 60 million different listings. So then I started looking up the holdings of some known bookjackers on ABEBOOKS.com, and I began with Glass Frog Books. So Glass Frog Books has over 1.9 million listings, so we'll just round them up to 2 million.
Man, and I've been in the book business for about 40 years. You've been in the book business for about 33 years. I've never heard of Glass Frog Books until about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
I haven't either. It's amazing how they could have amassed
that number of books.
2 million books that quickly. In fact, when I started doing this research on them about 3 months ago, they had 1.8 million listings. So over the last month or so, they added 3 months or so, they added about 100,000 listings, that's pretty quick to add 100,000 books. I mean, we have our inventory number is now up to 1,090,000. So we've listed 1 million books in about 20 years. Now we're not a huge operation, but it took us some time to get 1 million listings. Now, granted, the vast majority are not in stock anymore, but it just says something about the time it takes to list 1 million books.
Right. And at any given time, we have about 250,000 books online listed.
I think you're a little over. I think about 150,000.
150,000, okay.
Okay, well, we move on here. So that was Glass Frog Books. They're weighing in at 2 million listings. The next one who I always see on Abe is Irish Booksellers. Irish Booksellers. I've never seen their shop either. I've never met anybody from Irish Booksellers. Have you?
No, maybe it's everybody in Ireland selling a book. How many books do they claim to have?
Well, they don't claim. They have 4.7 million listings on ABEBOOKS.com.
Wow.
So they have
real estate must be cheap in Ireland that they can house 4.2 million books like that.
It is stunning. It is astounding and stunning. So they pretty much doubled and then some Glass Frog Books holdings.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So I continued on. And I went to the famous, I hope I'm pronouncing this name right, Ergode Books, ERGODE Books. Now, guess how many books listings Ergode Books has on ABEBOOKS.com?
I'm going to guess, since Glass Frog and Irish, I'm going to double Irish, 8 million.
You're short.
I'm short.
Ergode has over 9 million listings on ABEBOOKS.
Well, I was close, but...
and we've never seen their warehouses, have we?
No, and I don't know anybody who's ever sold them a book.
Oh, they try to buy books from us now and then.
Well, okay, all right. Well, through our Abe or Amazon listings.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
But I've never met them at any conventions we've gone to, or saw them in the AB Weekly when it was published.
That's
or anything
right.
like that. But they did amass 9 million listings.
Incredible.
So they have 9 million books somewhere. That's amazing. And finally, there's one other big one that I looked up, and that was a place called Murray Media, another well-known bookseller, I guess, sort of, kind of. We've all heard of Murray Media bookstores around the country, haven't we?
Oh, sure. I'll call my friends at Powell's and see if they've heard of them.
Yes, I'm sure, yeah. Well, Murray Media, I won't make anybody guess, but they have over 10 million book listings on ABEBOOKS.com.
Okay, so you got 10 million, you got 9 million, 4 million, and round numbers 2 million.
Correct.
That all adds up to
25 million listings.
And out of 60 million total on Abe, they account for at least a third of the
that would be
the book listings.
25 million. 25 is what percent of 60, Mr. Google? Mr. Google says, or Ms. Google, or undefined Google, tells me
androgynous Google,
we binary whatever, tells me 41.7% of the listings on Abe Books are from these
attributed to four sellers.
Four sellers who have 0 books in their possession, because all these 4 sellers are bookjackers.
They're having fake listings.
Like fake news, the catchword of the last 2 years. These are fake listings. And yet they occupy 41, almost 42% of all page space on ABEBOOKS.com. How strange is that?
That's incredibly strange. I wonder if the same entity or person owns all 4 of those.
That's a darn good question. So we do,
or I wonder if Abe Books owns them.
That's a darn good question, because we know who owns Abe Books.
We do, Amazon.
Amazon owns Abe Books. So I wonder if Abe Books knows who owns Murray Media, Irish Booksellers, Ergodi, and Glass Frog Books. And I wonder if they all are provided with the same type of software to do their bookjacking. Because we know what bookjacking is, right?
Bookjacking is when you take a listing from one site, i.e. Amazon, and post the listing on another site, i.e. Abe Books.
That's exactly what it is. So it's all done automatically via software.
So that they don't buy the book and put it on their shelf and wait for a customer to come along and sell it.
Right.
They take no risk with possessing the physical book.
And the amazing thing is that I know Amazon has some standards for shipping. I'm sure Abe has some standards for shipping. I don't know how these people are able to order the book from a real book dealer like us, get it in time, and then get it out on time. I wonder if they're allowed special considerations from Amazon and Abe.
That's right, because if we don't get books out in a timely fashion, we hear about it.
Yeah, it's really, really something. So, okay, what can we do about this? I know a lot of dealers. I've had emails since we started this podcast from dealers all around the world expressing gratitude about getting this information out there
and exposing bookjackers and underhandedness of this sort. Yeah,
right. So I do periodically email our Abe Books seller account representative about this stuff, and he claims they work on it and they're aware of it as an issue. That being said, I think they make way too much money on it to really want to eradicate this problem. I would recommend, excuse me, that those of you out there that are Abe sellers begin to email your rep as well, and just general inquiries at ABEBOOKS.com. Put it out there on the Abe Bookseller board. The fact that 25 million listings on Abe are by 4 dealers that own 0 inventory.
And list fake listings.
Fake listings. Now, what else can be done? I have a great suggestion. Since there's 4 of these people or sellers or whatever they are in the world, perhaps Abe should pay a representative to visit these 4 sites to verify the millions of books they claim they have.
Yeah, like an in-person audit or verification of their stock.
Sure.
And I'd say any lister over 200,000 items, Abe should either pay or ask for a local volunteer to go to this address, check this quote warehouse out or office, and see if there are 10 million books tucked away in this warehouse ready to sell and fulfill their customers' needs, because they're doing a great disservice to the customers if those things don't exist in real life.
And I think they're doing a great disservice to us and all the fellow, there are thousands of book dealers that pay for accounts
That's right.
Monthly on Abe.
Oh, yeah.
And so 41% of our web space on Abe collectively is being monopolized by fake listings.
Right. We're not getting our listing fees, the value of our listing fees.
Yeah, it's
absolutely not.
More distortion in the marketplace. I mean, without fail, if we have the only copy of a book on Amazon, there's 2 copies on Abe, us and Ergodi Books. It's fascinating.
It's fascinating. I wonder what would happen if we tried to buy Ergodi's copy. We'd probably sell our copy.
We probably would sell our copy.
And then we'd have to cancel our order.
Is that some sort of pyramid scheme?
Then we'd have to cancel our order.
Yes, we would have to cancel our order and hurt their rating. So I recommend also, if any of you out there that, sell to these people, find ways around that as well, because you don't really necessarily want to help this. But definitely email your Abe rep, and I'm going to put a link out there on the Abe Bookseller discussion board to get more people involved with this problem, because, again, I don't think we're getting what we pay for in terms of the marketing of our real books versus the marketing of these 25 million fake books.
All right, and further dilution of the marketplace.
Yeah. Let's see if I have anything else to say about this. I don't think I do. I think I left it out there. We appreciate.
Aside from those 4, are we familiar with any other jackers on Abe? I know on Amazon there's a list of maybe 100 that we've assembled. But on Abe, do you think it's just those 4?
Those are the 4 biggest that I know of. I was checking other ones like Extremely Reliable, Book Sleuth, in a couple cases.
Amit CJ on
I think
Abe?
no, they're Amazon only.
Yeah.
In a couple cases, they had 200,000 listings. So I'm like, well, I don't really care about 200,000 listings so much.
Yeah.
But these big dogs here, again, 42%
Right.
of all listings on Abe.
Right.
Really?
We don't need to build on that and make it 45% or 50% of all listings on Abe being fraudulent or fake listings. Yeah.
Right. So, be heard. Get out there. Thank you for all the positive feedback about bookjacking. Spread the word and contact your Abe account rep so we can solve this problem together, I think.
Excellent.
All right, we move on.
Welcome back to Book Brothers. I'm Michael Zubal.
And I'm Tom Zubal.
And next we're going to talk about a little adventure we had last year in California. Thomas in the south, I myself in the north, where we ran into a large collection of books in two geographic areas in various locations. Tom began the deal in Southern Cal. Do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so we got a I think it was a letter. Was it a letter or was it an email? I'm not sure. Maybe it was an email from a gentleman who said he had amassed a large collection of mostly books in mathematics and physics. He was a career researcher, worked mostly in the West Coast for about, I'm guessing, 60 years. And so I immediately got on the phone. I gave him a call, and he explained the situation to me. He said that he had 2 storage units in one location outside of L.A., and then he had 2 different storage units in Northern California in 2 separate locations that were all loaded with boxes of books, which he had amassed over his life. So it sounded exciting. I had some other things waiting for me out in the LA area, so I booked a trip. And the day I went out to meet him at the storage facility, it was 108 degrees because we were kind of in desert conditions where the city was. The hottest conditions I've ever been in my life, I think. And he was a nice man, and nobody was at the storage unit at noon like we were because people knew better than to go out.
And he was pretty much advanced in age, so he can help you out with.
Oh no, he was. I'm guessing he was in his mid 70s, perhaps, as you know after you met him. But it was interesting. So it's 108 degrees. We go to. He has 2 units in the storage facility. We go to the one unit, and he pulls out a key ring with about 85 keys on it.
I think you're being conservative, but okay.
And he's trying to figure out which key goes into the lock on the storage unit. And it's hot. And he doesn't have, his fingers. He's an older gentleman. So he tries his luck at the various keys into the lock.